Yes, YouTube, I hope that you're good. So today I'm going to be doing a step-by-step walkthrough on email marketing in terms of why you should be using it, how you should be using it, how you get the best response, how you scale it, and a lot of different other areas. Firstly, I'm just going to show you a bit of a disrupt, but what my day actually looks like as Ben Olsen, the coach consultant, and it's always tagged along by two huskies. So you've got Jax down there, who's my oldest dog, and then you've got Nala, who's just always laid in this corner over here. And it's always been like this. So we walk together in the morning as soon as I wake up. We then come to work together. We then go for a walk again after work, and then we're pretty much inseparable all day. And it's been like that for the last 10 years. And I would not have it any other way because I do spend a lot of time in this office on my own. So anyway, back to email marketing. The first thing that I want to do is basically sell you this pen. So like they say on Wolf of Wall Street, where it's like, I'm going to sell you this pen because most of the time people don't believe in email marketing and they don't think that it's viable, so that's why they just don't do it. So I'm going to talk you through some statistics, right? So statistically, I can never say that word, statistically, on average, there is a 8% view rate on content, right? So when you post on Instagram, on average on Instagram, it's not going to be the case for you guys, but on average, based on the amount of users out there, there's only 8% of people who actually view your content. On the other side, you've also got 1% of people on average actually look at Instagram stories and view stories. So this is about the whole database and the whole of Instagram. So it's 8% viewing content, 1% viewing stories, right? So let's just do a little bit of a comparison and run some numbers. Let's just say, for example, you had a 10,000 followers on Instagram, which means that 800 people will view your content on average and 100 people will view your stories on average, which we know it's bullshit numbers, and that's going to be completely different for us and most people who are actually posting. Now let's imagine that you have 10,000 emails, right? So a poor email delivery rate performance is normally anywhere from, let's just say, 9 to 19 to 27%, right? So you're looking at around those kind of numbers, right? On the data that I ran through email marketing with me and agency clients when we used to run the agency, and my one-to-one consultancy clients now, which we do heavily focus on email marketing, you're actually looking at more like a 34 to 42 to 44% open rate. I also know some people out there who have a 55 to 60% open rate on their emails, which is just ridiculous numbers, right? Because that's just about people being so bought into them alongside the system being perfect as well at the same time. So if we run the numbers based on someone having 10,000 followers versus 10,000 emails, based on the data and stuff that I've seen, and on average, let's say 28% open rate on emails to middle ground between what I've seen and also what's out there. That means that in comparison between the two data sets there, 2,800 people will open that email and then X amount of people will obviously view content. So from a numbers and volume and open rate perspective, it is definitely viable to be doing, right? Now, what I want you to also think about, and I want you to get your phone out, right? So I don't know why I'm trying to get my phone when my phone's in front of me filming. Event this weekend, my head's boof, and this is my 6th video today. I want you to get your phone out, right? And you've already got your phone in your hand, for example, and just do that swipe off thing, but don't click off the video and go onto Instagram, right? When you click onto Instagram and you scroll down, what you'll have is you'll have basically messages in the corner, you'll have highlights, you'll have notifications, you'll have ads, you'll have all this shit going off. So when we're looking at a first principle of how someone digests content on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, whatever, you're met with loads of different dopamine receptor reactions where someone's going to get distracted and click off that fucking piece of content to go and click onto that highlight or that notification or that ad, or they're getting distracted, right? When we look at the first principle associated with someone opening an email, when someone clicks onto an email, firstly, they're choosing to open that fucking email, right? It is not a choice to view other people's content other than following them, right? But when someone gets an email from you and they click onto that email because of the subject, which I'll talk about in a second, they've chosen, right? They've chosen to open that email, right? Now, when they open that email, they have got no fucking distractions, right? They'll have back. That's it. They'll have back. So when you open an email on your phone, you'll have X amount of new emails that are still to be read, but the only option that you've got to go is either scroll down to a call to action, which is on the bottom of every email, or click back. So when we think about the pathway in which someone actually processes, opens and digests the email that we're sending out, the principle behind it is 10 times more effective and impactful than when someone actually digests content, right? Which doesn't mean that you don't fucking stop posting content, because you get emails from the content element, right? So from an email viability perspective, I'd really like to think at 5 minutes into this, you understand that it's definitely a viable option to be running. Now, what you've then got to look at is the different formats in which you run your email system. So you basically have a weekly newsletter, you have campaigns based on intakes, right? But what I prefer, and the data and marketing statistics that I have reviewed, the daily email system is without question the best thing to emit the biggest response in terms of call bookings, in terms of call to actions and responses and open rate, and pretty much every single metric all and KPI all aligns to sending out a daily email, right? So what we've basically got to think about from that point is we can't just be emailing people every single day and selling at them, right? So when you've got a newsletter is normally where you are highlighting something what's happened this week, you are highlighting something new, you are hyperlinking different bits of assets. When you're running a campaign, so you're running a campaign into a launch or pre or post launch, we're basically going to be looking at a primary call to action, in essence, where we're selling to someone, right? So that is where your email delivery will drop down because you're just trying to sell at people. Whereas if you are emailing someone every single day with so many different formats and structures, people will get to a point where they actually start to enjoy opening those emails and reading those emails. So for example, right, I basically have something called a 12x daily email domination sequence. I'm not going to I can't give that away for free because that's a part of our program on email marketing, smart scaling. But on that, this is basically a variety where we're using a certain specific sequence to emit the type of response that we want, which is all leading into a spearhead email and an urgency and scarcity email, right? But in order to do that, we need to build trust personally, professionally. We need to talk about negative news. We need to be coming in and thinking about thought-provoking questions. We need to be creating controversy. And most importantly, we need to make sure that we actually have the right type of copywriting style to actually get someone to and a call to action. So the two best copywriting formats that I like the most is Hero and Pastor, right? Pastor is the format that I like the most because you can replicate this across real formats, caption formats, emails, ad designs, anything. And that is basically where you have problem and pain point out, you then have amplification, you then have solution, you then have testimonial, then you have offer, then you have response, and I forgot about the O element there. So what we're trying to do there is we're basically trying to write in a format which is going to emit someone to get to a point of thinking, they're pointing out my problem, they're amplifying the cost of inaction, I'm getting to a point there where, oh, I like them, they've given me a bit of a solution there. Then I'm moving into the actual I always forget, problem, amplification, solution, testimonial, sorry there, offer, we're presenting an offer to them, then we're presenting an actual response, right? So what that basically means is we're trying to talk in a way that's formatting to get them to emit a response, right? And that's where you might run that 1 in 12 emails or 1 in 7 or whatever it may be. The rest of the emails are there to build a long-term relationship with these people where they really start to trust you. And when you've got the type of frequency where you're basically sending these emails out every single day and you're telling these stories and using your hero copywriting style, which is like a storytelling copywriting style as well, then we're going to get to a point where really they're going to start to actually trust you. And the benefit of an email is the fact that if someone's reading out a personal email from you or a professional story or a controversy, a call to action, negative news, loads of different, I've got so many different formats for emails, but that's a few of them. If they read that and they like it, there's still a call to action to book a call. So what you've got to take into account is someone might like that personal story and get that little bit of trust to think, yeah, I'm going to book with this person. They might didn't know that about the professional element and positioning with your mission and vision, and they like that, so then they booked. Or you actually called out something that they think it and they align to that in terms of their position and belief system, so they'll book off the back of that. So what I'm trying to point out here is like email marketing is highly effective, but the most important element is always going to come back to your offer, your niche and your content. And then what I would recommend from that point is that you have a constant flow of whether this is a rotational lead magnets, master lead magnets, or paid ads where you are collecting emails. You need to make sure that you're constantly acquiring new data into this system and into SmartList and continuously retargeting them over time, because when you're just emailing the 500 audience and that never grows, then you're just selling at the same people. So it's the same as social media. So as you're scaling your social media now, make sure that you are scaling your email database and make sure you are retargeting them, because there is a absolute substantial amount of money to be made in email marketing, right? So I ran a course and I did a few different areas of email marketing the last couple of years, and I knew one guy who was he's talking hundreds of thousands of people on his email list. He was making upwards of $120,000 every 9 emails. So off one email, every 9 emails, he'd made $120,000 from this database. Didn't really do much in terms of content. It were all through email. So that mean that when he did his content, he could focusing on getting a capture and then doing all this selling on the back end on his email system. So definitely something to look out for in the future, guys. And like I said, I have all these systems set up, step-by-step processes, strategies, SOPs, known to man for absolutely everything. And that's what we do with Smart Scaling. And again, if you do it right, and if you do email marketing right, then you're going to be on to an absolute winner, guys, the same as everything else. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop it a like. If you've got any comments, please drop them in. If you're not subscribing, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.